5 years into our marriage, Ethan grew bored. I tried to salvage our relationship until our anniversary night, when I spotted him at a bar. Under dim, sultry lighting, the man who should have been on a business trip out of town was murmuring sweet nothings to a young girl in his arms. Was a cheap ring really worth getting this upset over? He coaxed. The fresh-faced beauty with tear-reddened eyes petulantly yanked off his wedding band and tossed it into a nearby champagne flute. Ethan, I hate that you were matching rings with that old hag. She pouted before kissing him boldly to the crowd's cheers. Ethan arched an eyebrow, pulling her closer to deepen the kiss. I watched our platinum band sink slowly through golden liquid. After a measured pause, I dialed a number. Do you take divorce cases? Depends. Daniel's voice came instantly. Friends get 20% off. For you? Pro bono. My own case. Documents coming through. I ended the call as fresh laughter erupted across the room. The girl now clung to Ethan's shirt, lips swollen and eyes glazed. Someone joked. Better hide your new girl, Ethan. Emily might throw a fit. Ethan stroked her hair with icy amusement. What right does she have? The chorus swelled. You've spoiled Emily enough. At 28. She's practically ancient compared to this sweetheart. 10 years is too long for any man. Ethan swirled his drink indifferently. Truth be told, I'm getting tired of the taste. I walked out steadily, only collapsing in tears behind my steering wheel. The pain in my chest stabbed like broken crystal. Olivia wasn't unfamiliar. I'd encountered her a year prior in Ethan's office, when she'd accidentally spilled lattes across my skirt. I'm so sorry, she'd squeaked, bowing repeatedly. Ethan shielded me with glacial disdain. Can't even handle coffee runs? Get out. The girl had crouched trembling to collect cups, wounded fawn eyes glistening. After she left, Ethan lifted me onto his mahogany desk, fingers trailing up my stained hem with possessive care. The new intern was utterly clueless. As Ethan's cold, impassive features twisted with irritation, I wasn't surprised. He'd always had zero tolerance for incompetence. She's fresh out of college, I soothed with practiced ease. Cut the kid some slack, Ethan. How arrogantly I'd assumed our decade-long bond was unshakable then. It never occurred to me to question why a college senior landed the coveted executive assistant position to the CEO of Harrison Holdings. Streetlights streaked past the car window like smeared oil paint, neon fractals dancing across the windshield. The surreal glow reminded me of those fevered dreams that leave you gasping awake. Honestly, I'm getting bored. Ethan's casual remark hit like branding iron, my soul crystallizing into brittle shards that crumbled to dust. Suddenly I was 18 again, standing in that suffocating bedroom hours after tossing my graduation cap. I'd been packing for college when Mother materialized in the doorway. Emmy, she'd whispered, tears cutting through her caked foundation. You have to help me. Her manicured claws dug into my wrists. Those gold-digging whores are after your stepfather's money anyway. Better you than. The door clicked shut. Mr. Lee's belt buckle clinked as he advanced, sweat beading on his ruddy neck. I fought the drowsiness from spiked lemonade, fingernails splintering against hardwood. Mother's hysterical laughter echoed through the walls. The door exploded inward. 17-year-old Ethan stood silhouetted against hallway light, switchblade glinting. His oversized band tee swallowed me whole as he bundled me out, trembling hands careful not to graze my bruises. You're safe now, he kept repeating, voice cracking. I've got you. When we fled town at dawn, Mother's shriek followed us down the gravel road. Men always trade for newer models. Emmy! You'll end up just like me. The traffic light blinked red. I jammed the brake, tires screeching. My engagement ring caught the glare, simple silver band, dulled from constant wear. Ethan had given me emerald cuts and ruby clusters over the years, but I only ever wore this one. He'd forged it himself during our engagement. our initials etched inside. The matching band now sat at the bottom of his whiskey glass, abandoned like last season's tie clip. I looked up ahead. 10, 9, 8. The traffic light was about to turn green. Slowly removing the ring from my finger, I rolled down the window and tossed it into the roadside bushes. 3 days later, I went straight to Ethan's company. Outside the executive office, Olivia blocked my path with a soft voice. "I'm sorry, Emily. You can't see Mr. Harrison without an appointment." I studied the girl calmly, her mint green sundress, messy bun, and glossy lips radiating calculated innocence. My smile widened as I shook the opaque thermos in my hand. "Would you prefer I accidentally spill this on your face? Or will you move aside now?" The color drained from Olivia's face. Her shrill scream drew curious glances from nearby employees, watching her scramble backward and trip over her own feet. I barely suppressed a laugh. Who knew honey water could be so terrifying? Clearly this mistress had watched enough true crime shows about acid attacks. The office door finally swung open. Ethan stormed out, immediately gathering the weeping Olivia into his arms. "What the hell's going on here? Who pushed her?" The baffled crowd parted as Olivia pointed a trembling finger at me through her tears. "Ethan! She tried to ruin my face." Recognition flashed across Ethan's features when he spotted me. Without another word, he dragged me into his office and slammed the door. Impressive new tactics. "Emily, did you really come here just to terrorize some girl?" I pulled the divorce papers from my bag and slapped them on his mahogany desk. "Sign these. The house stays with me. Stocks get liquidated. Read the clauses, we'll finalize everything once you agree." My voice remained steady. "Better make a clean break than drag this out." Ethan's smirk faltered. He flipped through the documents with deliberate slowness. "What's this? Some twisted ploy for attention?" My nails dug into my palms. For 6 months, I'd watched him drift away late nights at meetings. Cold shoulders in our king-sized bed. 3-hour simmered soups poured down drains. I'd waited until midnight in that stupidly romantic restaurant on his birthday, only to get a text about his sudden business trip to Miami. But now, no games this time. His mocking smile vanished. Those familiar hazel eyes turned stormy as realization struck. The thermos still sat unopened on his desk, filled with nothing more dangerous than crystallized honey and lemon. He opened his mouth as if to speak when Olivia burst into the room in panic. "Ethan! The doctor just called. My mom's condition is worsening again. I'm so scared. Am I going to lose my last family?" Her delicate face tilted upward, vulnerable eyes clinging to Ethan like he held divine salvation. With a flick of his wrist, Ethan discarded the legal documents into the trash. "I'll take you to the hospital," he said calmly, grabbing his overcoat as he strode past me. Pausing at the doorway, he shot back coldly. "Emily, save the reverse psychology. If you want the divorce, fine. But you're leaving empty-handed. No penthouse. No alimony. Not even the cat." The city lights glittered across the river through floor-to-ceiling windows of our luxury penthouse. Memories flooded back, that damp basement a decade ago when a startled rat made me spill boiling oil. Ethan had silently dressed my burns before crushing me in a rare embrace. Hot tears soaking through my shirt. "I'll give you everything, Emmy," he'd vowed. The boy who once wept over my blisters now sat among Manhattan's elite. Yet somehow we'd lost everything between parking tickets and private jets. Something warm nudged my ankle. A raspy meow came from the frail black cat rubbing against my legs. 9, our little survivor with one amber eye who'd guarded our basement from rodents. He'd followed us through every cramped apartment and screaming match, now aging quietly in designer cat trees. His patchy fur trembled as I stroked him. "Don't worry, old friend," I whispered. "I'll lose the man, but never my home, my savings, or you." The algorithm knew before I did. That night, Olivia's post trended, grateful for my rocket Ethan during mom's health crisis. Her hospital selfie showed his hand resting on her shoulder. His wedding band glaringly absent. Title: The daily life of the big boss and his assistant. Who in the world has a big boss running around at 1 a.m. just because his assistant's mom is sick? Oh. Right, mine. No big deal. He. The attached photo showed two hands intertwined by a hospital bed. The comments exploded. Seriously? Are we back to the tragic workhorse trope? Assistant girl. You okay? How old is your boss? Is he single? Did you even check before using him as a boyfriend? LMAO. It's just a job, stop being so dramatic. Olivia quickly replied, just sharing my life. No need for the trolls to crawl out of the sewers. A girl like me gets spoiled and cherished. Losers who've never been loved wouldn't get it anyway. I clicked into her profile. All those days Ethan was absent suddenly made sense. The big boss's birthday, we escaped into a snowstorm. He hates sweets. But he finished every bite of the mango crepes I made him. Even though he grimaced the whole time. LOL. I scrolled faster. Then froze. Wore this outfit today. And the big boss barely let me leave the bed. Sad kitten emoji. The photo showed Olivia in a sheer black camisole, taking a mirror selfie in a hotel room. Red marks dotted her skin. The same black camisole hung in my closet. I checked the date, March 28th, 2025. That day, I'd been in a car accident. My leg fractured. I'd called him repeatedly on the way to the hospital. No answer. Oh. I see. I laughed softly. Then, swallowing nausea. I screenshot every post. You're getting a divorce? My best friend Sophie gaped at me across the table at a Chongqing hot pot joint. Emily. It's not April Fool's Day. Stop joking. Everyone knows you and Ethan are obsessed with each other. I sipped my iced tea and dropped the bomb. He cheated. Sophie's face darkened. That bastard. I nodded. She turned to the handsome man beside her. Attorney Cooper. Why aren't you shocked? Daniel adjusted his gold-rimmed glasses and smiled. Because I'm her lawyer. Sophie was my college roommate. Daniel had been a year ahead of us. The three of us had dominated the debate club, celebrating every win with hot pot. After graduation, Daniel went abroad. Sophie took over her family's business. And now here we were, back at the same table. What are the odds? Mid-meal, Sophie went to the restroom. I asked Daniel, will those screenshots work as evidence? I'd sent him Ethan's financial records and Olivia's social media posts the night before. Legally, it's thin. The photos of Ethan are blurry and only show his profile. My stomach sank. But trust me, he said, I'll fight for everything you deserve. Daniel Cooper rolled up the sleeves of his white dress shirt, using a slotted spoon to place blanched fish into my bowl. Careful with the bones. This man always carried himself with unshakable composure. The Cooper family's influence spanned continents, their enterprises reaching every corner of the globe. As for Daniel himself, by his late 20s, he'd already become partner at a prestigious law firm. The golden boy who could do no wrong. Watching him maintain perfect table manners while eating hot pot. I couldn't help teasing, Counselor Cooper. In all my years, you're the only person I know who still wears white to spicy broth battles. His lips curved slightly. I'll take that as a compliment. The bubbling broth sent tendrils of steam curling between us. A familiar gasp shattered the moment. Emily! What a coincidence! I turned to see Olivia Taylor pressing manicured fingers to her mouth. Wide-eyed innocence poorly masking calculation. Beside her stood Ethan. His expression stormy. We're not interrupting anything. Are we? Olivia twisted her hands, darting nervous glances between me and Daniel like she'd stumbled upon state secrets. My fault really. I begged Mr. Harrison to try this authentic Chongqing place. I had no idea. The amateur dramatics almost made me laugh. Arching an eyebrow. I kept my tone pleasant. If you're worried about intruding, why not leave instead of making a scene? Olivia's face paled. She turned tearful eyes toward Ethan. I'm so sorry, Mr. Harrison. I keep causing trouble. Ethan had chronic gastritis. Spicy food was strictly off limits. That he'd come here at all spoke volumes about Olivia's influence. When this man cared for someone, he became fiercely protective. I eyed the condiment dishes, mentally calculating which chili oil blend would sting most if thrown. But Ethan ignored Olivia's theatrics. He strode over and grabbed my wrist. Words clipped with barely controlled anger. Emily. Who gave you permission to meet him alone? The animosity between these two went way back. During our sophomore year debate tournament, Daniel had casually handed me a water bottle. Ethan saw it happen. Stay away from that Cooper bastard, he demanded on our walk home. It was just water. He's our faculty advisor, he gives everyone drinks. I'd swung our clasped hands, smiling. Besides, you're the only one I want. But Ethan remained unmoved, insisting I quit the team. Our first real fight. Days of silence followed. Eventually he'd buried his face against my neck in our cramped basement apartment. Voice rough, I'm sorry. I just hate how he looks at you. Back then, Ethan had been scrambling through startup hell, all sharp edges and sleepless nights, yet still finding ways to surprise me with concert tickets or imported chocolates. Now he stood in a designer suit, gripping my wrist too tight while Olivia watched with poorly concealed triumph. The broth bubbled louder. Chilly, scented steam stinging my eyes as old memories collided with this absurd present. I twisted free, reaching for the nearest dish. This called for emergency measures, either Sichuan peppercorn oil to the face, or my fingers closed around the sesame paste instead. Let them watch. With deliberate calm, I mixed my dipping sauce, the earthy aroma grounding me. Some battles weren't worth the scorched earth. Not when the real war had been lost years ago. In that basement where two kids shared instant noodles and dreams. Ethan's jaw worked. Olivia opened her mouth, no doubt ready with fresh theatrics. Daniel observed it all with lawyerly detachment. Chopsticks poised over the fish slices. The broth bubbled on, indifferent to human drama. My heart ached. Ethan, there's only you in my heart. No one else. But the debate team has my friends and partners. We've worked so hard to reach the provincial finals, I can't quit now. Ethan tightened his embrace, murmuring, then promise you'll never be alone with Daniel. Not even for meals. The basement's flickering lights blurred with the hot pot restaurant's crimson lanterns. The once approachable senior who'd made Ethan uneasy now stood cold-eyed before me. Daniel glanced meaningfully at the flustered Olivia. Ethan, he drawled. No one outdoes you at playing victim while being the perpetrator. Ethan's expression darkened. Better than coveting another man's wife. Their knuckles cracked simultaneously, the high school brawler versus the trained combatant. Patrons whipped out phones as I grabbed Daniel's arm. Have you lost your mind? Ethan's eyes burned crimson seeing us side by side. Emily, you're protecting him? Enough. Ethan. Sophie's return froze the scene. What's this? Ethan stared. You're together? Obviously. Sophie's gaze landed on Olivia. Brought your mistress to flaunt. Mr. Harrison? Funny how you swore eternal love to Emily at graduation. She spat. Our fool believed your lies, turned down wealthy suitors for your penniless ass. Olivia quivered with indignation. How dare you? Know your place. Homewrecker. Sophie cut her off. Trollops should stay silent. Ethan ignored Olivia's tears, grasping my wrist. Let's go home. Emily. Daniel caught my other arm. Perhaps tend to your companion first. Mr. Harrison. Olivia shrank under the stairs. Ethan's smile didn't reach his eyes. Need Counselor Cooper's permission to take my wife? Release me, I said coldly. We'll settle this. Xiaojiu hadn't seen Ethan and me return together in ages. The cat that had been curled up on the couch suddenly widened its eyes. Meow. It leaped down and rushed toward us, mewing pitifully. Ethan bent to pick it up, casually asking, Honey, doesn't little Nine look thinner to you? I fought back bitter laughter. Back in our rented apartment, Ethan used to sneak extra treats to our cat behind my back. Now he didn't even notice how difficult eating had become for the aging pet. Ethan, I said quietly, let's get a divorce. After 10 years together, let's not make this ugly. He froze. No. The word dropped like stone. Emily, I'll never agree to separate unless I die. How absurd. Yet I couldn't muster even a hollow laugh. What about Olivia then? Should I share my husband with her? With countless others? There's no one else. His gaze held mine unflinchingly. Olivia's just my assistant. If it bothers you, I'll fire her tomorrow. You've always been my only love. That will never change. My heart ached uncontrollably, though my expression remained calm. Can I really trust you, Ethan? His voice softened like melting honey. Trust me, Emily. After waited silence, I nodded. One last chance. Tears glistened in Ethan's eyes as he pulled me into a trembling embrace. Promise you'll never leave me. He missed the cold irony flashing beneath my lowered lashes. Days resumed their familiar rhythm. I worked late on projects while Ethan came home punctually, preparing elaborate seafood feasts despite his shellfish allergy. Fresh king crab from the market today, he'd say, peeling morsels onto my plate. When I dozed off with damp hair after showers, I'd half dream of someone blow-drying my strands while chiding gently. Comrade Emily, you'll get migraines in old age if you keep this up. His stomach pains worsened. Sometimes he'd pale dramatically and whimper. I don't feel well. Where I once fussed over herbal remedies, now I simply handed him water. Hydration helps. His smile would dim briefly before brightening again. Much better already. Thanks, babe. I accepted all his attentions gracefully, letting the charade continue. Only at night, when his arm wraps around my waist, the intimate warmth of his breath brushes against my neck. Emily, Ethan's deep voice resonates in the quiet bedroom. I frown slightly and push him away. I'm tired today. Ethan freezes. After a moment, he murmurs, Honey, let's go see the northern lights in Finland after you finish this busy period. Watching the auroras with Ethan had been my college dream. Back then, we couldn't afford it. Later, money wasn't an issue. But Ethan never had time. Now that he mentions it unexpectedly, I stay silent and turn away. That day, Olivia suddenly adds me on social media. Emily, you don't think you've won, do you? After the hot pot restaurant incident, Ethan kept his word, replaced his assistant and fired Olivia. Seeing her message now, I casually reply with a question mark. She responds eagerly, still gloating about Ethan firing me. What if I told you Ethan and I have a home together? A series of photos follows. I click through them one by one, matching throw pillows on a couch, his and hers pajamas in a bedroom, meticulously tended succulents on a balcony, one pot eerily similar to the one on Ethan's desk. All staged home shots. I scrutinize every image. Not a single usable clue. As I ponder, Olivia messages again, he only pities you now. Is clinging to him worth it? Blinking calmly, I type, I know the difference between obligation and love. Since I'm the only one he's ever chosen, I'll give him another chance. Her reply comes rapid fire, really? Let me be clear, I've given Ethan everything. Our home, his car, even his office. Every place you refuse to explore with him, we've tried. And you still claim he's yours? Pathetic. Poor Emily, I almost feel sorry for you. Ha ha. I press my lips together, fighting nausea, and bait her empty words. Why would I trust you over my own husband? A long pause. Then, what if I prove it? Ethan's meticulous, he leaves no traces. To get concrete evidence of his affair, I need Olivia's help. Now that she's taken the hook, I reply, then I'll divorce him and clear your path. For an ambitious climber like Olivia, this is irresistible. Better keep your promise. She fires back. Time slips by until November. Xiaozhou grows weaker each day, curling at my feet with his one remaining eye watching me, yet always glancing away when I meet his gaze. Stay with me a little longer. Okay? I whisper, scratching behind his ears. I stroked Xiaozhou's head and murmured softly. The cat rubbed against my palm with a weak meow. But that night, everything changed. Xiaozhou began vomiting violently. I grabbed my keys from the entryway, clutching the trembling feline to my chest as I headed for the vet clinic. Ethan emerged from his study, his dress shirt sleeves rolled up. Babe, it's freezing out, he said, draping his wool coat over my pajama-clad shoulders. Let me drive. His steady hands took the keys from my shaking fingers. Tires screeched against asphalt as we raced through deserted streets. In the sterile operating room, Xiaozhou's small form lay motionless under blinding lights. I pressed my palm against the cold observation window, tears blurring the heartbreaking scene. Emmy. Ethan's deep voice wrapped around me like his arms currently did. Remember how we joked about cats having 9 lives? Our little warriors just resting. His thumb traced circles on my wrist, the familiar gesture now feeling like a poorly rehearsed script. The sudden buzzing of his phone shattered the fragile moment. I watched his jaw tighten as he silenced the third consecutive call. Answer it, I said flatly, noticing how his designer watch glinted 3:12 a.m. Might be important. His chuckle sounded strained. Nothing's more important than this. But when the phone lit up again, he pressed a kiss to my temple. Back in a sec. Okay? The glass door to the parking lot hissed open, carrying fragments of his conversation inside. Can't keep doing this. Olivia. I told you, the autumn chill seeped into my bones as his words dissolved into static. When Ethan returned, his usually immaculate hair was disheveled. Corporate emergency, he announced, already reaching for his car keys. The Longwell merger's collapsing. I need to. His voice trailed off as I stared at Xiaozhou's still form. Go. The word tasted like ash. He hesitated, those movie star eyes searching mine. Call me when, after. I'll come get you both. His Porsche roared to life before the automatic doors fully closed. At 3:07 a.m. The vet shook her head. My sweatshirt grew damp where Xiaozhou's cooling body rested against my heartbeat. The notification buzzed precisely as dawn cracked the horizon, a video text from Olivia. Golden restaurant lighting illuminated Ethan's face, sharp with desire as he tore through lace lingerie. The timestamp read 2:49 a.m. Across town, his Porsche still sat in the hospital parking lot according to Find My iPhone. I saved the video as sunrise painted the waiting room orange, each ray highlighting the empty chair where my husband promised to wait. Xiaozhou had transformed into a tiny urn. Returning home, I packed my clothes and daily necessities into a suitcase. As I pushed the door to leave, Ethan's WeChat notification lit up my screen. Emily, is the procedure over? I'll come pick you up. Calmly, I forwarded Olivia's incriminating video to him, adding, 10 a.m. tomorrow at the Civil Affairs office. Don't be late. The line went deathly quiet. Autumn wind rattled golden leaves from the branches as I approached the black Maybach parked outside the government building. Ethan leaned against the car door, cigarette ember glowing between his fingers. His expression unreadable. He only noticed me when my shadow fell across his designer shoes. I revised the divorce agreement. I handed him the documents. Autumn chill sharpening my tone. 20% increase in the settlement. Given the evidence of your infidelity, this is generous compared to what I could demand in court. Ash dropped onto Ethan's trembling hand unnoticed. That night you said we should try again, his laugh scraped raw. That was all lies. Wasn't it? Dark eyes searched mine like bottomless pits. I met his gaze steadily. No denial necessary. Ethan suddenly closed the distance, studying my face with bitter intensity. Tell me truthfully, Emily, is this really about Olivia? His finger brushed my bare ring finger. You stopped wearing yours the day Daniel returned. Did you think I wouldn't notice? My gaze dropped to the platinum band still gleaming on his left hand. Unlike you, Ethan, I don't retrieve what I've discarded. I smiled without warmth. When you said you were bored on our anniversary, I threw my ring into the East River that night. This has nothing to do with Daniel, I simply don't want you anymore. The color drained from Ethan's face as if I'd struck him. Emily. Please, his hand closed around my wrist desperately. I shook him off. Sign now, or we'll settle this before a judge. Frankly? My nose wrinkled. Your touch repulses me. We can fix this. He choked out, papers crumpling in his white-knuckled grip. I'll do anything. A sardonic laugh cut through the tension. I'm afraid that's not your decision, Mr. Harrison. Daniel emerged like a tailored storm cloud, his Armani suit stretching across broad shoulders as he positioned himself at my side. Ethan's anguish crystallized into venom. This is between me and my wife, he hissed. Daniel's smile could have frosted champagne. As M.S. Thompson's legal counsel, I'm afraid you're mistaken. His hand rested protectively on my lower back, the gesture calculated to provoke. Shall we proceed? In the end, Ethan and Daniel came to blows. It was as if years of pent-up resentment erupted, neither holding back. I watched coldly for a moment before stepping forward to separate them. Ethan stood there with a bruised lip, his eyes stormy. Daniel. He spat blood. Don't think everyone's blind to your opportunistic scheming. Daniel wiped blood from his split knuckles, dark hair falling across his forehead as he smirked. Opportunities only exist when there's weakness to exploit. I should thank you for that. Ethan's jaw tightened. How could a businessman out-argue an undefeated attorney? Especially when truth wasn't on his side? Ethan. I cut in, holding up the divorce papers. If you won't sign. Is it because you're clinging to those assets? His bitter laugh chilled me. Emily. Have I really become this pathetic in your eyes? He snatched the documents, scrawling his signature without reading. I won't give him any excuse to approach you. Those storm cloud eyes burned into me. I'll win you back, Emily. True to his word, Ethan began appearing outside my office daily. Emmy. A coworker nudged. Is that gorgeous guy in the gray coat your husband? I didn't turn to see the familiar silhouette in the winter wind. Ex-husband. The boy I'd loved existed only in memory. This hollow man before me was merely a marble statue of regret. His performance of devotion as transparent as it was irritating. The reprieve came unexpectedly. Olivia announced her pregnancy. Ethan's breath hitched when he heard, veins bulging at his temples. Terminate it. That child means nothing. He dragged Olivia to the clinic, only to be intercepted by her cancer-stricken mother. Mr. Harrison. The dying woman knelt in our corporate lobby. My Olivia's frail. This might be her only chance. If you refuse, she lunged at the marble pillars. The scandal erupted then vanished overnight, no doubt Daniel's doing. When I next saw Ethan a month later, he'd become a gaunt shadow of himself. His eyes lit up momentarily when our gazes met, then dimmed. You'll never forgive me, will you, Emmy? I walked out of the courthouse holding my divorce decree, sunlight glinting off the embossed seal like dawn after endless night. Emmy. I'm sorry. His broken whisper followed me into the autumn breeze. I didn't look back. The day my bank statement showed a 9-digit sum from liquidated shares. Olivia's social media updated. Wish granted. The post featured a pregnancy test report and divorce certificate, quickly sparking heated discussions. What's going on? Is Olivia the mistress climbing the ranks? New here? Check OP's previous posts, textbook modern-day martyr. Hypocrites. You claim to support women but tear into a pregnant girl like this. Maybe they're truly in love? The last comment showed author approval. Olivia specifically replied, his ex-wife only cared about money and never understood him. He sacrificed most of his assets to divorce her. But I don't mind because I've always wanted him as a person. I smirked and reposted her story from my main account. Sorry folks. The fairy tale crashed. Someone more understanding showed up. During our happiest years, I'd drawn Ethan and my love story into webcomics. What began as personal archives unexpectedly went viral, even getting reposted by a celebrity heir who commented, "This is relationship goals." The account eventually amassed 600K followers. Since going dormant a year ago, daily update demands flooded the comments. Now the revelation ignited wildfire reactions. Wait, Olivia stole my favorite artist's man? If caring about money means enduring basement apartments through his startup years, no. Our online sweethearts can't end like this. The love conquers all delusion just took critical damage. Netizens soon exposed Olivia's background, same dorm in college, eternal damsel in distress act with her sick mom. Isn't her mom that woman kneeling outside W-Tech last month? Baby trapping is old news. But cancer-stricken mom emotional blackmail? Creative. Don't forget to roast the cheating husband too. Olivia quickly privatized her account. But the damage was done. W-Tech stock prices continued to plummet as outraged netizens bombarded their official platforms. Not that I cared anymore. When my long estranged advisor called asking, "Emily, will you join the Swiss lab project?" My throat tightened. During college, I'd been the only undergraduate in her elite lab. Choosing to co-found Ethan's startup over graduate school had burned that bridge. She'd returned every holiday gift for years. Not angry anymore? The professor snorted, free labor's never wasted. Free's fine, I'm practically swimming in cash now. I resigned that afternoon. 1 month later, suitcase in hand, I exited the office building at sunset. Daniel leaned against his car, sunflowers in arms. His smile gleamed brighter than the golden hour light. "Emily, can you give me a chance to stand by your side?" The sunset blazed across the horizon like a multicolored glass dream. I smiled faintly, accepting the bouquet of sunflowers before speaking calmly. "Daniel, you sent Olivia to Ethan's side, didn't you?" My tone held no question, only certainty. Daniel froze. For the first time, his usual composure cracked as fleeting panic flashed through his eyes before he schooled his features. "When did you figure it out?" I tilted my head. 3 months ago. Someone texted me a bar address. That's where I saw Ethan with Olivia. My gaze never wavered. "You just returned from abroad then. You know me too well, understood I'd never tolerate betrayal. No matter how much I loved him. And if I divorced, you'd be the first lawyer I'd contact." The winter dusk deepened around us, swallowing the vibrant sunset whole. Later at the hot pot restaurant when I saw them again, Shanghai's enormous. Why such convenient coincidences? I pulled out my phone, showing him Olivia's file. Scholarship student sponsored through college. My smile turned wry. By the Cooper family. No less. Daniel looked down, bitter laughter escaping him after prolonged silence. "So that's it? I'm completely out of the game now?" The sunflowers in my arms still bloomed vibrantly, my favorite flowers. Every birthday brought anonymous bouquets without fail. But now, I can't accept affection laced with schemes. Gently, I returned the flowers. "Goodbye, Daniel." My suitcase wheels clicked rhythmically across airport tiles. As the plane pierced through cloud layers hours later, golden sunlight streamed through my window. Another beautiful day dawned. Epilogue. Ethan first met Emily behind Second High's alleyway after dealing with some troublemakers. Leaning against graffiti-covered walls with cigarette smoke curling around him, he watched the girl in neighboring South High's uniform toss him a bandage. South High students didn't belong here, this was dropout territory. What? His lips quirked as he caught the bandage. Little Miss Perfect taking interest? Moonlight illuminated her porcelain face as she answered flatly. Don't flatter yourself. Before walking away. Only years later would Ethan learn she'd helped because he'd beaten her childhood bully that day. But in that moment, something shifted for the perpetually aloof boy. When his friend later joked about the ice princess who'd caught his eye, Ethan merely smirked, pocketing the unused bandage like a trophy. Emily Thompson was the renowned unattainable beauty at South High, excelling in both looks and academics with countless admirers. What? Ethan? You've got your eye on her too? A friend teased. Ethan recalled the moonlit girl's aloof demeanor that night and reflexively countered, Don't be ridiculous. We've got college entrance exams soon. His voice softened. Wouldn't want to distract her. The friend snorted. Since when does our valedictorian care about exams? Piss off. From that day, Ethan began intercepting Emily's swarm of suitors. During late study sessions, he'd trail her through unlit streets wielding a blinding tactical flashlight, feigning interest in storefronts whenever she glanced back. Post-exam summer found Emily working at a convenience store. Ethan became her most punctual customer until the day her register stood empty. She didn't call in? Ethan's throat tightened at the manager's shrug. This wasn't like her. He'd seen the way Emily's stepfather's eyes crawled over her during school pickups. Breaking into a sprint toward the Thompson residence, Ethan's mind replayed those predatory glances. Later, he'd thank every deity for arriving before moonlight could be swallowed by mud. That year, fate proved merciful, letting him cradle his moonbeam close. Until the day he carelessly let her slip through his fingers. Ethan once believed he'd love Emily forever. But forever's wait proved crushing. When Olivia joined the firm as an intern, her incompetence nearly earned early termination. Until Ethan overheard her tearful stairwell plea, Uncle, please, my mother's surgery. The abrupt dial tone left her trembling. Mascara-streaked face resurrecting memories of 18-year-old Emily's quiet desperation. Keep her, Ethan told HR. Later covering Mrs. Taylor's medical bills himself. This single act of mercy became the first domino in their ruin. The fracture began with Emily's endless overtime. Just this month. Ethan. She'd coax. Fingers brushing his sleeve. But Ethan's patience wore thin. Why must I always accommodate you? He snapped. Old wounds from the Daniel incident resurfacing. Do what you want. The office door slammed behind him. Emily's whispered apology dissolving in the vacuum. His office had a private lounge where he planned to spend the night. Neon lights flickered across the glass windows as red wine swirled in his crystal tumbler. Ethan Harrison sat slumped in his leather chair, draining glass after glass. The door clicked open. Olivia Taylor slipped inside wearing a strappy white dress that emphasized her delicate collarbones. Her trembling lips sought his. Ethan. I've loved you for so long. Don't push me away. That night became a blur of whiskey-scented recklessness. Whether driven by intoxication or years of suppressed longing, Ethan surrendered to the tsunami of desire crashing through his veins. Dawn found their entangled silhouettes still imprinted on the office windows. The city's neon glow bearing witness to their relentless passion. Olivia's innocent facade concealed carnal audacity that Emily Thompson would never have permitted herself. Yet even in these moments, Emily's memory haunted Ethan's periphery. Lately Emily had noticed his distance, deploying tender gestures to mend their fraying marriage. He maintained icy composure while secretly savoring her anxious devotion. Each wounded glance from her dark eyes became proof that Emily still cared. When Olivia whimsically demanded Chongqing hot pot one afternoon, Ethan never anticipated crossing paths with Emily and Daniel Cooper at the bustling restaurant. Their shared laughter over some private joke struck Ethan like a physical blow. Terror hollowed his chest. He was losing her. "You're leaving me?" The raw panic in his voice shocked them both. His public meltdown became tabloid fodder for weeks. Sophie Miller had been part of their innocent gathering all along. That night, Emily packed her suitcases. "I want a divorce. Ethan. You'll have to kill me first. Emmy." He crushed her against the foyer wall, wedding band glinting as he pinned her wrists. When Emily eventually relented, Ethan chose to ignore the missing wedding ring on her finger and the bitterness shadowing her smile. God had granted him redemption, he told himself. On the eve of Xiao Zhou's surgery, Olivia appeared in scandalous lace lingerie. "One last time, Ethan," she purred, fingers trailing down his tie. "Or should I console poor Emily about our office romps?" Her serpentine whisper left no room for refusal. The truth arrived via divorce papers bearing Emily's flawless signature. Perhaps she'd been gone long before Olivia's blackmail. Ethan shadowed Emily's every move during her final days in Shanghai. Just as he'd done decades ago when they walked home from cram school. Back then, he'd lingered half a block behind to calm her night terrors. Now he witnessed Daniel's confession at the airport departure gate. "I've loved you since Columbia," the attorney murmured, cradling Emily's face. "Let me give you the life he never did." The final revelation came via Daniel's triumphant smirk. "Olivia Taylor was my parting gift. Every step meticulously planned since the merger." Finally, he stood silently watching the plane carrying Emily grow smaller in the distance, gradually shrinking to a dark speck before vanishing completely. The cruelest irony was that the only thing he could do for Emily now was stay out of her life. Ethan wanted to laugh, but his eyes burned with unshed tears. Turning around, he found Daniel standing nearby. The usually composed heir of the Cooper family stared blankly at the empty sky where the aircraft had disappeared, his expression unreadable. In the following months, Ethan launched relentless attacks against the Cooper family's businesses. "It's pointless. You can't win against them," Olivia pleaded, her face pale as she burst into his office. The miscarriage had left her hollow-eyed and desperate. "Get out." Ethan didn't bother looking up from his documents. "Stay away from me." "But Ethan, I've truly fallen for you." Olivia clutched his sleeve, tears streaking her makeup. What began as strategic seduction had become real for her. She needed him to understand, to believe. "Not my problem." The security team dragged her away as Ethan watched impassively, as though observing some deranged stranger. W Technologies declined steadily over the next year. Many lamented its downfall, but the gaunt figure lying in the hospital bed remained serene. The empire was built for her, Ethan murmured through morphine-induced haze. "Its collapse is only fitting." The stomach cancer diagnosis had come too late, or perhaps right on time. He'd ignored the symptoms for months, welcoming the pain as deserved punishment. Now as death approached, even agony felt distant. "Moon, see, Moon," the weak whisper startled the night shift nurse. She glanced automatically at the rain-lashed windows where no lunar glow pierced the stormy darkness. Code blue alarms blared as monitors flatlined. But the dying man's clouded eyes saw only memories of starlit hair and Emily's laughter echoing across university courtyards.